Take a look in the red text. It says, before we begin, select a standard or topic to develop classroom resources using AI. So let's do that right now. I want you to think of a standard. I want you to think of some content, something maybe that you'll be using right at the start of school, less than a month away. I hate to say that. Uh, but yeah, something that you're going to teach and that you'd like to create, maybe a slide deck or an interactive app, maybe an item in Canva to help you teach the concept. If you can't think of anything, just use study skills and participate that way. I used to teach environmental science, and so the topic that I'm going to do is 5.8 impacts of overfishing. Now, I'll say this here too, like it might not be a good best practice to take tier one instructional materials from another publisher and upload them to an AI platform. That's not the best practice, right? It's maybe violating copyright law, but some of these tier one instructional materials and some of the stories, like maybe an HMH story or a storyline for Open Syed or Amplify or Envisions Math or Savas or any of those publishers, their tier one instruction materials and even their objectives might already be in the system itself. So when we start to interact with the AI, the more specific you are with the AI, the better the output's going to be. So just keep that in the back of your brain as we start to prompt and ask AI for specific things. The more specific we are, the better that output will be. Let's take a look at our learning intentions and success criteria. We're going to leverage Canva, Gemini Canvas, and NotebookLM to design interactive, standards-aligned instructional resources and AI-driven student supports. We know that we will have been successful if we can create an instructional resource with Canva AI. We use Gemini Canvas to generate and refine slide decks and interactive HTML apps, and use NotebookLM to explore district strategic plans and build student-facing study materials, including quizzes, audio overviews, and flashcards. Let's take a look at our agenda. We're going to get into Canva AI in a moment. We'll use a tool within Gemini to make a slide deck and an interactive app separately. And then, like I said, we'll get into NotebookLM and we'll explore and even maybe create one too, see how that goes. So let's get into Canva first. Good way to do this is to log in through Clever. And let me get you guys the Clever email, or what is this called, the URL. So click there, log in with your nv.ccsd.net credentials. Big fan of Canva because it's free. We get the pro version of Canva automatically with our education credentials. It's like $11 a month or something like that. It's a pretty cool deal. And not only do we get it as educators, our students do too. We regularly meet with the Canva representatives, and they're really friendly people. The CEO has mentioned before that Canva will always be free for educators. It's kind of cool, I guess you get in there and play around with the materials. You're used to being able to design something in Canva. You might start to use it outside of work, which is kind of cool, right? Students will be able to bring this into their different businesses and locations where they work later on in life. It's a real, live, actual tool here that we can use. Not only is it a cool design tool, but it also has AI integrated into it. So let's open up Canva AI, Canva Education. I'll show you where to find the AI. If you're looking at my Meet screen, look at the left-hand side. Now, I've got it listed here in my sidebar menu. Let's see if I can open that up. Yeah. But take a look. If it's not listed, take a look. It might be under More. So we'll scroll down. We'll mouse over the three dots, and we'll click on Canva AI. And then watch what you can do. Watch my Meet screen. I'm going to pull the Canva AI logo and I'll just place it somewhere else so that I can find it later on. Now, if you missed all of that and you just want to get right into canva.com, you should also just go to this right here. Hi, Shanita. That happens automatically. The attendance will be emailed to me at the conclusion of today's session. I want you to click on canva.com/AI. Pretty cool stuff. Take a look. All of these AI platforms, it's a conversation with AI. And there's a text field, sure enough, where we can have a nice chat with the Canva AI platform. But before we do, let's just take a look here. Like we can make videos, sure. We can actually have it code some really cool interactive apps if you want. We can have it make a doc. In fact, not just a doc, but also, I don't know, I guess any number of things. Look at that tweet, even though we call those X's now, don't we? I don't know. Let me click out of that. I can have it make images. I can have it design. In fact, what I'd like you all to do, let's click design and then choose presentation. And this will create a presentation that is kind of like a Google slide deck, but it exists within Canva. And what I want us to do is use the 3 C's when we prompt AI. The 3 C's are context, clarity, and critique. When we prompt AI, we want to give plenty of context to the AI about who we are, what we're doing, right? You can even say specifically that I work at X school in Clark County School District, right? I work in a vast urban school district here in Southern Nevada, right? I teach 11th grade at this specific school. The more context we give the AI, the better the output's going to be. Yes, context, clarity, and critique. So the next C is clarity. Be very clear as to what you want. If you want the AI to reference those tier 1 instructional materials, you better say the unit name, the module, the title of the HMH reading, whatever it is you're going to have the AI do, give it plenty of clarity. Be very clear. Context and clarity. That goes into the prompt. The AI then will process it, make something, whatever that's going to end up being. That's that third C is going to be critique. And to me, this is the most important part. We critique the work. We vet the the material. We vet it for accuracy. The AI is trained on human produced data. Humans can have biases. And so we can assume then that the output could potentially also be biased too. So we'll want to look for those biases throughout. In addition, there's this idea of the 90-10 rule in the world of AI, where AI can help us with 90% of the work, those productivity tasks like making a presentation in Canva, making a page of content in Canvas, writing some assessment materials in Canvas LMS. That 90% is the backbreaking work. That's the hard part. It's the blueprint for our teaching. And it's that last 10% where we put that little sprinkle on, that we put on the human element. That's where we add the magic. That's where we correct it, right? We go back and vet it. That's where we ensure that whatever the AI produced is not going to be that AI slop that we keep hearing about, but rather something that's going to be meaningful and beneficial to our students the way that we know them as their educators, right? So that 90-10 rule is really important in the age of AI, right? We talk about putting the human element back into teaching, and that's the human part of it, right? AI can help us with the hard part, but it's the magic that the human brings, that extra 10%, that will bring us to that finish line. So as we chat with this AI, let's have some context, clarity, critique its output. And how about yeah, like I said, just go for it. So think about that topic that it is you're going to teach. I chose design, and then I chose presentation, and then take a moment and come up with a prompt. That's funny, Benjamin. I just read that. That would be the critique part where you fix it, right?
You really have to tell it to randomize the answers or it won't do it.
Sometimes it does though. It's completely random sometimes with that output. Too, I've noticed. Like today, it's been really weird, to be honest with you. Sometimes it doesn't even follow the instructions. It's like our students. All right, push that enter sign if you finished it. With Canva AI, for me, I don't know if you're looking at my screen, maybe it's doing it on your end, but I love that it kind of, before it like finalizes everything, it will create a nice little outline. Yeah, look at this. It says something went wrong while generating that outline. Cool. Love that. We're just going to click generate design. Let's do it again. Now I'm interested. Okay, do it again. You see what I'm saying? It's been weird. Like AI has had enough. There it goes. All right, did anybody else get like, did it not work for them? Looked like it was almost finished, but on my end. Notice you might, if you're at my step, you'll click generate design at the bottom. I love that there's an opportunity to add that human element, add a page. Let's do this. Let's say like, we'll say Kagan collaborative structures. Add 5 questions for hand up, stand up, pair up. All right, let's see if it does it. Kelly says, didn't work for me. Which part? The whole thing. That ain't good. I went to canva.com/AI. I chose design and then presentation. And then prompted it. Give me a thumbs up if it worked for you. Gotcha, Kelly. Yeah, it's being weird today, huh? Gemini was being weird for me earlier. I did a session earlier. It was kind of awkward. April says it worked, but I would have to replace a bunch of things. Okay. Yeah, it's not giving. I mean, that's the human part, right? For me, I'm going to open this up and not just assume it's ready to go and take a look at it. Yeah, I don't know if this is AP level, right? Mine was an AP environmental science class. I mean, that question is like, what can we do to help protect our oceans? Cool. The kids are going to say, stop wearing sunscreen. Okay, what else? All right. Yeah. I think it might be interesting. We're going to make a slide deck in Gemini. It might be neat to use the same prompt and compare and contrast the two AI systems. So I'm going to leave this one open. It does look like it gave me some Kagan strategies. What I love about Canva AI, so this could actually be a collaborative process. Take a look in the upper right-hand corner. I can click share. Let's actually try this out. So right now, only I can access, but let's get anyone with the link can, we'll see, can comment. Okay, let's get you on it. And then take a look at what I'm going to do. You're still looking at my Meet screen. Click on that link in the chat for sure. Looks like some of you are starting to get on it. Let's see if this works. So I've selected this text. I'm on slide 3. Let's go there. Looks like it has some content on there. From the teacher's perspective, I'll click on that content and then click on that triple ellipsis there, that 3 dots. I'll come down here to Magic Write. You see this? Look at the Meet screen for the visual. Click Magic Write, and look what I can do. I can generate a quiz. So very quickly, this AI then will generate a quiz based off of that content. So now, can you guys, if you're on 3 right now, can you click on one of those and click Submit? Or do I have to give you editing rights? Are you able to click? Is it working? Oh, it did. Okay. That's good. I was wondering about that. I was like, do I have to give you editing rights? And when that happens, when you do this with like 14-year-old students, they start selecting stuff, deleting it. So that's good. If you make it so that everyone can comment, or maybe even everyone can view it, looks like you can still like interact with this in a way without like deleting my designs, which is awesome. Hey, take a look. So what are the responses like? So I'll click on the quiz from the teacher's view, go back to the Meet screen to see the visual. I'll click on responses, and it will tell me generally how all of you guys chose. It looks like most of us said implement sustainable fishing practices. Not very specific. I feel like I can probably make that a better question if I really wanted to, but there you go. Pretty neat a way to integrate AI very quickly and create a real fast formative assessment too. So any questions about Canva AI? Let me ask you this. Did it make anything that you would actually use in your class? Or did it make AI slop, as they say? Did it give you a good place to jump off into, like a starting point, right? Sally says it could. I would use it. Okay. I like the instant quiz, says Kelly. Yes, good starting point. Take a look at the Meet screen. Let me get rid of this quiz. Watch this. So I'll click on the content. Click more. Scroll down to that Magic Write. It's a good starting point. Good. All right, Liz is saying they like it. Let's transform. Actually, I don't know. Maybe let's transform text. I'm nervous. Write this in prose. I have not tested this out. That's why I'm a little nervous, just to see what happens. Yeah. All right. This, but 11th grade AP style, please. Yeah, I don't know if it did anything different, but you get the point. So instead of having bullet points, right, I transform those bullet points easily into a little text area, right? I can probably go through, bold the important academic vocabulary. Here's what I'd be doing though. Like if you're working at one of those schools that has AI turned on for students, couldn't they be doing this too? Right? Maybe you're teaching them about the 90-10 rule. Like, hey, let's have AI help us with 90%, but you're going to have to do the 10% by yourself. You've got to vet the materials, go grab a book, right? Make sure everything's good to go. Add in some stuff to put in that human sparkle into the content, right? I think that the way that we can teach students in the era of AI is to show them how we as adults are using AI and try to get them to emulate it, right? Because we're not just using, I'm not using AI to do all of my work for me. I'm still the human involved. I'm using it to lean on to help me do some of the administrative tasks that I don't necessarily want to do, right? But it takes me to finish it, to push the button on the mouse or whatever, right? Or to go through and actually physically say, well, actually, this isn't exactly what I want to give to my students or whatever, right? So something to think about as we delve into what teaching looks like now, right? All right. Ms. Hunt says the slides look done by AI students. I would say so too. Although, if you look, I believe these are little cute, like elements they're called in Canva speak. Like these are little graphics and stuff that, so like the AI used Canva and found appropriate little cute symbols using their like ecosystem. So I can come in and make it my own too. I can upload my own photos if I wanted to. If I'm going to use supplement this with real life actual pictures, I can upload those here. Right, pretty wild. Big fan of Canva. Pretty cool stuff. I like making logos in it. All right, but you're right. You can do this yourself, Jiawei. Let's come back over here. So we checked this off of our list, talking about Canva AI. Let's use Gemini Canvas now to make a slide deck. So we had AI and Canva do it for us. Let's compare and contrast. So let's get a new tab going. We're going to go to gemini.google.com. Let me put that link here into the chat for us. You're just going to click, boom, click that, open it up. If you need to authorize Gemini, you haven't used it yet, go ahead and do that. Let's look at the interface. In the upper left-hand corner, there's that little diamond shape with multiple colors on it. If you click on that, that will open up your sidebar menu where you'll be able to see all of your different recent chats you've had, if any, with the Gemini. You also might have gems or not. Now, gems we're not going to go over during this session here. I do this tomorrow during my Google Classroom and AI Made Easy. If you don't have gems, you can also find them down here in settings. So all the way down to the bottom, lower left corner, look for that gear symbol, click on settings. You might be able to access gems that way. All right, note you can also get to NotebookLM, which we'll use in the second half of today's class. Let's use that same prompt. In fact, I'm just going to go right back. Oh gosh, how do I find it? Let me go right back to my Canva. I'm going to grab my same prompt from Canva, and I'm going to put it into this text field in Gemini. Now, here's the key, right? I want you all, before you push enter or do anything, we're going to add a tool to Gemini. So I want us to click on that plus sign on that text field. Click on that plus sign, and then we're going to choose Canvas as our tool. This is Gemini Canvas. This Gemini Canvas will create slide decks, docs, and interactive apps. It doesn't make Canvas materials for our Canvas LMS, not the same thing. If you don't have Canvas listed, find it underneath more tools, but make sure that you've selected Canvas. And then let's see what happens. Let's click submit. Sit back, cross your fingers. Give me a thumbs up if it's working on your end. Looks like it for some of us so far. Kelly, what's wrong, Kelly?
So many things. Just kidding. It's just taking its time, I guess.
Okay, I'm seeing here it says, how would you share this to students in class? Are you talking about in Canva?
Or just in any way, like if I could obviously understand like how to present it, but if it was like an interactive thing, how would that go? Because I'm thinking like back in the day when we had Nearpod, those presentations were interactive, but you had a code that the students would access
just
on
like
their own device.
I got you guys that link because we're on a Meet. So anywhere where you can get kids a link, and I'm thinking Canvas would be a good Canvas LMS, or Google Classroom would be a good way to do that too. All
Yeah.
right. In fact, I'm going to get you guys into a Google Classroom at the end of today's session, and you'll see that's how I got you a link to a Notebook LM that we'll use in a moment. Okay. But yeah, that's a great question. How do you get these links out to students? Yeah, you use a bit.ly, right, if you wanted to. So I'm looking at my slides. First of all, there's more slides. I think for me, that first page is so ugly. If you're looking at mine, I'm sure that you guys have something wildly different. It looks like it found some actual images and doesn't look like that's AI generated. At the very end, the last slide, what I like about when Gemini Canvas makes these slide decks is that it will show you exactly where it got its images. Go through it. The tragedy of the commons is definitely a concept that we bring up. I know that that was not mentioned in my Canva version of this. It feels a little light. I don't know, but it's got some interesting stuff in there for me. I'm always nervous about these graphs. Like I don't know where that came from. For me, on this slide, this particular slide, if you're looking at the meet screen right now, has got a stat, but I'm like, where did you get that from, right? So I actually might go through and supplement this or take out that graph, adding my own version that I can find online, one that I can vet a little bit more. Plus, it will look less like that AI made it, right? If I'm putting my human elements onto it. And then, like I said, it looks like that last slide there has got all of the image sources, which is kind of cool. Canva didn't do that. Let's do this. Click export to slides. April, was it better than the Canva version? If you made two at the same time? Yeah, a lot better. Yeah. I think interacting with it too, like the critique part of this, it does a pretty good job from my experience. If I was like, I want some Kagan strategies, it'll give me a 14th slide. In fact, I've done it before where it adds 5 additional slides, one for each question, making it like 18 slides. All right, click open slides if you've done the same thing. And here's the other thing I'm a little bit more familiar personally with Google Slide environment than I am with the Canva ecosystem. I feel like I live here a little bit more confidently. And gosh, that delete, there we go. Yeah, looks like it's not too bad. I don't know. Go through and definitely work on that stuff. And notice, like I said, if I wanted to get rid of that graph, looks like this is an entire image here. Yeah, there we go. Get rid of it. And then I put in my own, or at least vet that number. That way I'm not just saying, look, the number, it's good, right? Graph. All right. Any questions about that? Kind of cool, right? Preguntas. I'm always going to want to supplement this. Like, I hate for me this 13th slide with questions and review. How many people got a questions and review slide near the end? I'm going to do it again. I'm going to say, I need an FRQ, a free response question for slide 12. And if I have Canvas still selected as my tool, it's going to make me a new one. Had I unselected that, it would have just spit out one that I could copy and paste. But all right, well, let it do its thing here. And pretty cool stuff, right? I'm going to just let that load. Look at this. It's showing me the nitty gritty behind the scenes right here with my HTML coding. All right. What do you think? How about we take 1 minute or so, finalize our slide deck, and then we'll meet back here. gonna say it looks great. All it did was give me a lot of code. It forgot to, yeah, it says, I'm so glad. Thanks. Thanks for nothing, AI. Have you guys named your AI before? Have you done that yet? One time I asked Gemini, I was like, what would you like to be called? Like I was having a not a relationship with the Gemini, but like I was just talking. I was getting comfortable with the AI. Have you done this with an AI yet? Maybe it's just me. And I asked Gemini, what do you want to be called? And it said, I almost said it. It said Arlo, Arlo. I thought that was so weird. Where did it come from? But and I was like, all right, does anybody else in the world call you Arlo? I was like, no, there might be some, but no, you know. So every so often I'll call it Arlo. All right, there's my see if it remembers me. There's my story. Good. Good thing I'm recording this. Hey, yeah, gonna cut that part out. Let's get into Gemini Canvas. Let's now have it make an interactive app. You ever do something? So this is like the eighth time I've done this session. It's fun. I love it. Everyone is slightly different, but like the eighth time you do it, so you get a little loose. It's like having fifth period come by. You're like, I'm going to start telling the stories now. All right. You guys ready? Give me that thumbs up down there. I've stalled enough. Got plenty of time. Good. Let's get into, we've still got Canvas selected. If not, click on that plus sign and make sure that you've selected Canvas. It's either found in this pop-up tool or underneath more tools. And then here's the keyword here. We're going to have it make an interactive app. So let's say create an interactive app on this topic, assuming that we're still in the same chat, right? If we've started a new chat, we're going to have to do context and clarity all over again, right? There's no record of the previous chats, actually. We have that feature turned off here in Clark County School District. So let's, so within the same chat, create an interactive app on this topic. So students can collect data. Let's see what it does with that. So the keyword interactive app, make sure that you have the Canvas tool selected. Cross your fingers. All right. Mine's taking a minute. Is yours working on your end, folks? Okay. Yeah, earlier when I tried to have it create a new slide deck with some additional information in there, it didn't really seem to work. And now I'm nervous that maybe I should have started a new chat. If you're ever getting weird responses, start a new chat, start over. Ah, there it goes. Just took a minute because it's so unbelievable. Wow. Pretty cool. What I'm supposed to do with it, though. Ah, look at that. Oh, wow. I can copy the data. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty wild. So how do I get this out to students, right? So here's the thing. Here's what I always like to mention this. Like, I made that. I should say AI made this for me. I think what would be really cool is having students make these, right? Students click on Canvas. Students make those simulators. Think about that. That gets them up out of their chair. You do a little gallery walk. Everybody walk around, find problems with the simulation, right? If any, play around with it. Does it make sense? Let's give some feedback to the designer here, right? So that we can do that critique part and make some changes to it to make it a little bit more understandable. Mine's pretty cool. So let's check this out. So look at my Meet screen. In the upper right-hand corner is this little chevron. It says share and export. It's this little arrow here, right? Mouse over that, it says share and export. Let's try this out. So I'm going to share via Drive. It's going to ask connect to Google Drive, sure. And then I'm going to pop that. Let me change the share settings here so that anyone with the link can view. Let's check this out. So earlier, Kelly was wondering how we can get a link out to students in class. Let's say that I had a really cool simulator and I wanted to get that link out there. I shared it with you here in this chat. One, can you open it? Two, I could take that anywhere I can get a link to my students. I can email it to them. And that's how I can share that with them. Does it work? Can you click on it? Does it work? Give me a thumbs up in the chats. April says it works. Cool. All right, Liz is also confirming. That's cool. That used to not be like that. That's new functionality that Google made for, I think, specifically teachers. Because I don't know if you noticed, look back at the Meet screen or click on that arrow in the upper right if you have made your simulation. Did you notice one of the options here is to share to Classroom? Click that. Asks me to connect, sure. And now I can add it to one of my classrooms. In fact, I'm going to add it to the one that I'm going to have you get in a minute. Click go. See what I'm doing? All right. Ooh, I can add it to, ooh, this is cool. Add it to the correct topic. All right, pretty nice. Click post. So a really easy way to get something like this out to my students really quickly. Any questions in there? We have about 20 minutes left, which is enough time for NotebookLM. Did you make anything interesting? Be bold, turn your mic on. What did you make? If anybody wants to try out the sharing process, put the link into the chat. We can check out what you made.
I'm not comfortable with the sharing aspect quite yet. I haven't figured that out. But I teach elementary music, and I asked it to make a presentation on recorder fingerings. And then I noticed that it gave me the notes for a song. And I said, keep the presentation, but add the sheet music. And not only did it add the sheet music, it added an interactive recorder to it.
Wow.
So that they can click notes and then it'll show and play on the recorder.
Do the notes, you can actually physically hear the notes?
Yes.
Are they the correct?
Yes.
Like, really?
Yeah.
And it plays an A, it plays an A, huh? That's pretty cool.
It was really impressive.
Can you share? You can't share that?
Okay.
Click on that little arrow in the upper right-hand corner. Click on share via Drive. I wouldn't mind checking it out, personally. Share via Drive, and then it says connect to Google Drive, click proceed, and then just change the share settings so that anyone with the link can view. and we all might be able to check it out. Sounds pretty cool. All right, so let's see if April, we can all check out the one that AI made for April. I'm loading that up on our screen as well. Ooh, this looks like a slide deck a little bit, right? Ah. I'm impressed. Pretty wild. I mean, so yeah, like, do you just use that slide, right? I mean, that's the cool thing is you can go in and use just the parts that make the most sense for your students. I love that you can change the tempo too. Pretty cool. All right. All right. Let's do this. So we're going to finish up here today talking about NotebookLM. Now, I'm going to give you guys at the end of today's session, I'm recording this session and it's also creating notes. Fun part is I take those notes, I put it into a special gem and it spits out like a one-pager takeaway, specifically what we went over here in today's class. So yeah, maybe I'll put a couple of these links into that one-pager that I send out to all of you tomorrow, all right? So check out your email for that for sure. All right, so let's get into NotebookLM, ladies and gentlemen. So let's do this. The sharing settings of a NotebookLM, it's a little difficult to do. I can create a NotebookLM, and if I added each one of you individually as viewers, it's easy, right? I can go in, you can all access it, perfect. The problem becomes when I have 180 students, I don't want to have to physically type in everyone's name. So that's where a classroom comes into play. A classroom is a group. A Google Classroom is a group. And so if you join my group, if you join this classroom, you'll automatically be given rights to the NotebookLM that is found inside of that classroom. Give it about a minute, 30 seconds or so. So after you enroll yourself in this class, click on that link I just put into the, I'm sorry, that's not the right link. Give me a moment. Here we go. So I'm going to put this link into the chat right now. Click on the one that says classroom.google.com first. This will enroll yourself into the class, giving you rights to all of the materials in this class. In this case, it's really actually just that simulation I put in earlier, and also a NotebookLM. You can find this under classwork. So once you have enrolled yourself in Classroom, click on classwork at the top, and then choose the link that says NotebookLM on the destination district. Open that up. Take a look here at NotebookLM. So let me see, I think I just got an email address. Yeah, okay. I just got an email from somebody that's share requesting the NotebookLM. Go back to it. I just got another one. You guys are trying to open this up without being enrolled in the classroom. Now, if you have enrolled, wait 10 seconds or so and then click refresh, try it again. Guys, like I said, if you're in my classroom, you should have rights to view what we're looking at. Let's go ahead and look at the Meet screen now for the visual, please. Yeah, I had another notification again. Join that classroom and then wait 10 seconds, click refresh, and then try to open up that, that notebook. So let's look at our Meet screen, please. There's three areas here that we should care about with NotebookLM. The left side are the sources. We can add sources like PDFs. I'll click on that Add Source button. I can look for stuff online like Clark County School District Strategic Plan. I can also upload files like PDFs, find things on my drive, even websites. What is a NotebookLM? A NotebookLM allows you to interact with those sources. It's a source-grounded AI, and that's what's in the center is the chat feature. Look at the very bottom is that familiar text field where we can ask a question of the AI. The reason why teachers and educators love NotebookLM is because the AI can only interact with and answer from the sources you have on the left-hand side. So one of the complaints about AI is like, oh, it can start to hallucinate. It can, as it answers, veer off on a tangent and start talking about something else or make up stuff entirely. It's less likely to happen with the NotebookLM because the source comes from not the World Wide Web and everything out there in the world. It comes from only the sources you add. And that's a great thing for teachers and for students that might use it. So you can interact with those sources in the center, and then on the right-hand side is a studio. Now, if you're looking at the Meet screen, we're in creator mode, right? I'm the owner of this specific one. So I have all of these tools here, like an audio overview. I can make a video overview, a slide deck. I can create flashcards and quizzes. And then from your perspective, the viewer perspective, you'll be able to see all of those materials on the right-hand side, the videos and the audio overviews and all that good stuff. So let's see this. I uploaded the Destination District, Clark County School District strategic plan for the next 5 years. And one of the key features here is to impart the concept of durable skills to our students. Might be difficult, like what are durable skills? So what I want you to do is ask one question. Let's take 2 minutes. I want you to ask 1 or 2 questions of the AI. I put an example of a question in our chat for the Meet. And I want you to check out the materials in the studio as well. Let's take about 2 minutes to do that. If you're ready to move forward, find that black button near the top. It says plus create notebook. Choose that, and how about we add that slide deck from earlier or something from your drive. Of course, you can also search for stuff online. Start to create your own notebook and see how easy it is. Take another minute to do that. What I love about this strategic plan is this incorporation of durable skills, right? I asked it earlier, what would it mean for my science classroom? It says, hey, teach collaboration and critical thinking through project-based learning, right? That's an opportunity for kids to talk to one another and put on their thinking caps and work through a project. I think that this is the key to the era of teaching in the era of AI is through those durable skills as outlined for this through the strategic plan. The more it's what makes us human, right? So those durable skills, making things, creating, communicating with one another. When we do that, that relegates the AI to the role of an assistant and puts the students in the driver's seat of their own learning. We've got to really think about how we can change the way that school is done, right? Maybe get away from relying 100% on a worksheet or that packet that we've been using the last couple of years. Not saying that that's all we're doing, right? I understand that there's so many different ways to teach, and that's what's really wonderful about why I love education, is because there's so many different ways to do it. I think that when we start to incorporate the way that we do it along with teaching through those durable skills, that the AI becomes something different. It doesn't become the answer provider. It becomes an assistant, something that can help the student through the process instead of doing it for them. Take a look here. So we're back on the Meet screen. I love these audio overviews here. Take a look. I can actually not only play the audio, it's like a podcast, 20 minutes of 2 AI hosts talking about your content. But I don't know if you noticed, there's also this little interactive area here. So let's click that. I'll push play.
Welcome to today's deep dive.
And I can
You know,
join
for
in.
the better part of a century, the K through 12 education system. Oh, hey there, what's up?
Hey, can you tell me a little bit about durable skills in a science classroom?
Hey there, we are so glad you chimed in. That is such a sharp question.
It really is, because science is often where those durable skills like critical thinking actually come to life.
Right, think about it. In a traditional science class, you might just memorize.
You get the point, right? Now, as teachers, maybe we don't like that or don't need that or something like that, but when we make these materials available to our students, our classrooms become multimodal. They access and allow students to interact with the class the way that they want and the way that they're familiar and comfortable with. And some students might want an audio overview. Let me show you one here. So yeah, it sounds like Elizabeth Banks. It sounds like a real human. It's insane because they'll like do the ums and the ahs, same thing as what I'm doing. Sometimes I listen to them and I wonder if I'm the AI. Let's not think about that. This is one that I made here, a NotebookLM with 40 different things in it. So I used to teach AP Environmental Science. I've got 9 different slide decks. These are like 70 slides each. So here's the little trick here, Raj. If I start to click on Audio Overview and I have 40 items selected, and the AI is going to make a 20-minute video or an audio podcast about anything it wants to, right? Because there's hundreds of pages of stuff. So you can control it a little bit more. If you've got a lot of sources in your NotebookLM, we'll uncheck this, watch, uncheck, and then just select the source that you want. Now when I click on Audio Overview, it's only going to create a podcast about Unit 8. In fact, I can even have more control over what's going on. If I click on that little chevron, that little arrow, it pulls up another menu. Maybe I'll have a debate between the 2 AI hosts, relatively short, and then I can all of a sudden start to have a little bit more of a focus as to what that AI podcast might look like. I'll click generate. It takes about 10 minutes or so to make one of those audio overviews, but it's definitely cool. You know, I'll tell you, I know for a fact, right before a quiz or an exam, I know I'd have my students have their NotebookLM open, going over these flashcards. There's quiz questions, right? In fact, like I said, I think the real value in this, if you're working at a school that has turned AI on for students, the real value is for the students to create their own NotebookLM. Allow them to make it, right? When they have control over their learning, they have more buy-in, and they'll want to do the ask. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for hanging out with me. Highly suggest you continue to play around with NotebookLM after today's session. Let's come back to the Meet screen. If you could, quick shout out here for the Digital Learning Lab. Schedule one of these with your small group department PLC. I do like a 45-minute session with the teachers in your department. If you wanted to have a guest come in, actually not even come in, we'll do it virtually. So everybody gets to go to their room, turn out the lights, put their computer on, and we'll talk about Google Classroom. We can talk about what we did today. We can do a NotebookLM session. I can custom create and talk about literally anything having to do with instructional technology. And of course, I want everyone in the kind of spirit of the PLC to contribute and collaborate together as we try to figure out what this stuff might look like within our classrooms. So if you're interested in having the Digital Learning Lab next school year in your small group PLC, reach out to me through email. I'll be more than happy to set that up. Or send that information to your assistant principal, supervisor, or your department chair. I have a link for the professional learning feedback survey, folks. If you guys could please fill this out. The link is in the chats. Open it up. Today's session is called Unlocking AI in Your Instruction. My name is Chris Justice, and today was July 14th, 2026. Appreciate you all hanging out with me. You can finish up that survey offline. Somebody asked earlier about attendance. Once I push end on today's session, I'll have that attendance sheet emailed to me. And then it takes about 3 to 4 weeks or so to manually put all of that stuff up into Elms.